Hey Earth, this is God's Comic, and this is the wrap up of my reaction video with SNL star James Austin Johnson, when he talked about me, how I influenced his comedy, his career, and how he has changed his life in regards to his faith, and how he thought perhaps my comedy has changed. So it's pretty interesting. I hope it's truthful, enlightened. I'd love for him to come on. I'd love to talk to him about my life and my influence on him, but also just his life in general. That'd be great. Don't know if that'll ever happen, but at least you'll have this, my commentary on his perspective on God's comic, Brad Stine. This wraps it up, and if you missed any of the first two episodes, links are right down there in the description. Enjoy my final part, James Austin Johnson and me.
There were some blow-ups between me and family members, but a lot of that I'm going to actually say is on me. I mean, I was filled with left-wing anger when I saw Trump, especially coming from that Christian world, seeing someone so uncharitable, unscrupulous. Somebody didn't represent a single Christian value. So.
Okay, I get it. You think he didn't represent a single Christian value. And he just admitted, I was the problem. I was a left-leaning rager. Once you become full leftist, it is a religion. G.K. Chesterton said this. And when you stop believing in God, you don't believe in nothing. You believe in anything. When you abandon Christ, like James has done, and you embrace leftism, that's your new religion. It's a cult religion. A cult is that one that represents Christian values, but is not Christian. So again, I'm not disparaging him. I'm not attacking the guy. I'm telling you that's literally the definition of what happens when you abandon Christianity and replace it with a counterfeit version of all the wonders of Christianity, all the beauties of it, the morals, the ethics, the justice, that it all is given to us by Christ. But it has none of the underpinnings of morality, of repentance, of sin being acknowledged. You don't get to do anything you want. If that part isn't brought in, it's a cult, because you have to repent, excuse me, or there is no reason for Christ to be sacrificed. And he was. Why? Why did he die and resurrect? Because we're all sinners. That there's behaviors that God says, I abhor. That's just what it means to be a Christ follower. So he admitted, I'll give him credit for that. Hey, it was on me. I was the one that got all adamant about it and so forth. So he wasn't charitable. He wasn't kind. He wasn't civil. And that's what we've seen from progressives. Again, they were the ones that were rioting during the Rodney King. They were the ones that were burning things down. They were the ones that didn't have to wear masks while they were out in this giant group of people that we were told was a super spreader. But they got away with it because their righteousness apparently overcame Corona. That kind of pure commitment to a religious zealotry was on full display during Corona. When the mask came on, the mask came off, and we saw what was happening. So James, hey man, still would love to talk to you, but let's talk like civil adult men who are also comics, and let's see if we can find some common ground. That's what a mature person would do.
Taking over my church, it ultimately underlined the fact that it wasn't my church anymore. Like it just ended up reaffirming my decisions to leave and leave it to them. So it was a good thing. I mean, overall, I think it will turn out to have been a good thing. Nobody likes to throw up, but your body wants to vomit for a reason. I think this was 4 years of vomiting. And, it seems like we have ejected a considerable amount of poison.
Keep in mind that this was at the end of the Trump presidency, where Biden had just won. He considers Trump poison, vomiting, puking, but we got it out of our system. Now, these are from people that always claim to be the loving, tolerant, good-hearted guys. So again, this is not an indictment. I'm letting you speak your own words from your own perspective, and then see if it matches the kindness and the virtue and the tolerance that you claim you live by. But you don't. You are the ones that disinvited conservatives from colleges. You're the ones that would get Riley Gaines locked into a room while they tried to destroy her because she simply said, I shouldn't have to race men who call themselves women. You're the people that created literally anarchy and absurdity as something that needed to be given a sacrosanct foundational support. You guys did that. You didn't even believe in reality anymore. So there's a price to pay for ideas. They have consequences. So this is 4 years ago, was right at the time that Biden came into office, thinking that, we've puked out Trump. Here comes the savior, Joe Biden. Well, we got 4 years of him now. And we saw what that was all about.
But it also just highlighted a bunch of other stuff that's not going to go away. I think that was very valuable too. And eventually I made peace with those family members. I told them early on, I was like, you're going to regret this decision. You're going to regret this guy. He's going to blow up for you. And I think his presidency speaks for itself in that respect.
Show me where he blew it. Easy to just make accusations. Where did he blow it? Show me what he did that destroyed everything that your family members regretted. Just show me the evidence, please. And then when we saw the Biden administration and opening our borders and letting people come in, gang members, raping, killing people, I'm not making stuff up. I'm a Christ follower. I'm trying to always speak truth. It happened. We have all Laken Riley, all the people that died because of this nonsense. Killing the chickens. It's because of this bird flu. Suddenly eggs were skyrocketing. Manufacturing gone, right? We're going to let the World Economic Forum decide for Americans if we can be free or not. I mean, it was pandemonium. It was so anti everything that America was supposed to be when it came to our autonomy, our agency, and our constitutional rights, I was glad it happened. I'm exactly with you, James. I'm glad that 4 years of Biden happened. That's what it looks like when progressives run the show. And it is dark. Oh, and let's not forget the lawfare, where people use the law to go after their political enemies. Holy smoke. They never talk about it. It was good. He deserved it. That, my friends, is a lack of self-awareness. And that is fascism 101.
And it also kind of taught me not to take leaders that seriously in general.
I agree with you 100%. Let's end this thing with something we have in common. I have said, and on my podcast, Brad Stine Has Issues, and will continue to say, I have come to see that virtually every congressman and senator, mayor, governor, judge are corrupt. Virtually all of them. DC has abandoned us. And that corruption is so deep, so inculcated for them to make millions and millions and millions of dollars that it is as deep as it's going to go. People will pay a price for trying to disrupt that. And of course, that's what Trump says he wants to do. And Elon Musk is going in there finding all this wasted money. Wouldn't it be good? Wouldn't it be good if we found wasted money and brought it back and gave it to our retired veterans, put it back into Social Security, put it back into homeless Americans? Wouldn't it be great if we found these billions of dollars that put us into trillions of dollars in debt and actually bring it back into America and help everybody like you said you want to do? We found the money. We can do the work. Isn't that a good thing? So yes, I agree with you. Politicians, for the most part, are absolutely despicable people.
Life's too short. And we have to be kind to each other on our own. I mean,
life's too short. We have to be kind to each other on our own. But he wasn't kind to Donald Trump this entire interview. He wasn't kind to Christians who are trying to serve God the best they can. He wasn't kind to Christ, who he walked away from because he felt that the church was dark and didn't agree with people his age and what they thought was true and good and moral. Again, I'm simply listening to your words and exposing, are you consistent with what you say you believe? And the answer is no. Now, that's okay. I'm a hypocrite too, James. I've made plenty of mistakes too. Still would like to talk to you on my podcast. Maybe we can iron these things out.
That is something that we have to do as a society. I don't know. It's good now. I think it's good now. Everybody's good now. I don't know. I don't know. It was uncomfortable there for a minute. You know what's interesting is they hated the Trump voice the first few years. They thought it was very disrespectful and it made everyone really queasy. By the end of the presidency, they were asking me to do, like this past Christmas, they were asking me to do Trump anytime we were all together. The same people that were the most vocally supportive of him. To me, I I would sum that up as ultimately lost a ton of respect for him over the course of his decisions and behaviors. And
So what? So what? I had no respect for Joe Biden as to what he was doing. Does that make me right? Does it make me wrong? Does it make me good? Does it make me bad? Does it just simply make me have a point of view? All I know is Americans said we want Trump back, and now he's there and he is getting busy. So I don't know what's going to happen. I don't worship him. I don't do Trump rallies when I go to churches. I do Christ rallies when I go to churches. But when I see who hates him, it makes me think, he must be hitting a nerve. He's onto something. The right people despise him and want him shut down.
Policies. That's what I thought would happen. And I'm glad that I can do my disrespectful voice and speak truth to power in whatever minuscule way it is.
He just said it. I did my disrespectful voice. And yet he just said, 2 sentences earlier, we need to be kind to each other as a culture. Pick a lane.
I don't care about changing anybody's minds about Trump.
I don't care about changing anybody's minds about Trump, but let me disparage him and say how evil, bad, wrong he is, how disrespectful, what a destruction he was to America. But I don't want to change your mind. God almighty, please, stay in your lane, stay consistent, so at least we can understand where you're coming from.
Releasing the valve. What you were kind of talking about, like what's the duty of the comedian? Should we talk about politics or should we not? Ultimately, we just got to be true to ourselves, right?
Well, that's what I tried to be. And you said that I had changed and something was wrong with me and that I was part of a group of people that wanted to talk about not masturbating. None of that was true. I'm on the journey too. I'm trying to become a disciple for Christ, which means I can ebb and flow. And I might look at my stance and where I'm at in my faith and say, you know what, I need to adjust that. Oh, that I was getting off base. That was a little bit more secular, and I need to be more Christ-like. So I'm along trying to get better too. Why don't you give me that grace? I got an idea. Come on the podcast. We'll talk about it.
And if we're more political than we were a few years ago, and we're being authentic, comedy should come out of that. If we're being inauthentic, being preachy,
if we're more political than we used to be, but being authentic, that's good. Well, that's what the conservative comics are doing. We're authentic. This is what we think is true. This is what we believe is right about political correctness, about wokies, about progressivism, about leftism, about Marxism, about Bidenism, about everything that happened from the wokies that destroyed this nation. We are being authentic with our comedy. You just said that's what we're supposed to be. Does it only work for the left? Only you can be authentic with your point of view, but not us. But yet you somehow are giving yourself a pass, but not us. Giving yourself access, but not us. Again, I hope you can see the inconsistency, the hypocrisy, and the hope that you can get back on track, just like I've been trying to do with my comedy in the last number of years.
Didactic, pedantic, comedy starts to be obscured by, I think, by putting on a front. But if we're speaking from the heart and being ourselves, that should connect with audiences.
That's what I've been doing. That's why I was known as the guy that started conservative comedy. That's why they call me God's comic in the New Yorker magazine. That's why Dinesh D'Souza said I was the most dangerous Christian comic in the country. I'm speaking truth. Remember, Christianity, if done properly, is dangerous because it does speak truth even when people don't want to hear it, especially those who disagree with the message.
I think that's what I found with Trump was being authentic. I thought he was ridiculous. But when I just started playing him as ridiculous instead of someone I hated, it became really fun for me and for audiences.
So that was my observation of James Austin Johnson, a Saturday Night Live cast member as we speak. This was 4 years ago, so he's 4 years older. Maybe he's changed. Maybe he's gotten more perspective, a different perspective. As I said, when I contacted him, through Instagram. He said, "Hey, if I did anything that was offensive to you or said anything it's not what I meant. I apologize." So I give him full credit for that. I have nothing against you, James. You're a talented guy. I don't care what you believe. I don't care what point of view you believe in. You have full access to that. But when you said that I was your first love and the one that influenced you, I wanted to bring you on my podcast and talk about that. I've never had somebody that reached your status that I was their influence. I was interested in that from some ego-driven way. Curious about it, how your comedy worked, how I was affected. I'm curious about it. I don't know. But also, can we have discussions that disagree and be civil and kind? That's what I'm interested in. Do I believe that he'll come on my podcast? Probably not. But if you would, as a Christ follower who has not abandoned the faith, and to a former Christ follower, let's have a conversation. Let's be civil. Let's be kind. Let's laugh together. Let's go take on some hard issues together and talk about them. And maybe never reach a meeting in the minds. But let's be adult men who have done the hard road of stand-up comedy and tried to make the most of it. And let's show America that we can disagree agreeably, because that is what it meant to be free in America at one time. Let's remember that. This is God's Comic, Brad Stine, and this was my 2 cents. I hope that made sense to you.